I'm gonna make a video on this very, very controversial topic, which is how to reject somebody in a socially acceptable, universally acceptable, and generally least damaging way for everybody involved. So the only reason anyone should reject anyone or tell somebody no is if it's a legitimate reason. So let's say you had a friend and you can't be friends with that person anymore. You can't be friends with that person because of the fact that that person, right, has repeatedly blew you off, as in they agreed to show and they never showed. Like, oh, you were supposed to hang out at your house or your friend's house, and it never happened for like the 5th time in a row now. Or they keep forgetting to pay for their own bills. Like every time you guys go out to eat or go out clubbing or something, they're the ones who are asking you to foot the bill every single time incessantly, and that wasn't really what the agreement is. So like if your friend wants to treat you and say like, hey, like I wanna, like, it's fine, like I can pay for this, like I kinda like blah blah blah. I mean, those are instances where yeah, they're supposed to foot the bill, right? But if that's not what that is, and you are always like, their excuse is always like, I forgot my wallet at home, or I didn't get paid this weekend, or blah 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 blah, then that means that they're taking advantage of you, right? Like, not that you can't afford it, but like to a point where, like, you know, it gets kind of excessive, and it could be small things that are continually happening that you've mentioned before and nothing's been done about it. So those are the reasons why you should be rejecting somebody. Oh my god, what is wrong with me today? Pants Rory was not a good choice for me to make in regarding to this food consumption. Okay, so one of the key things that you have to keep in mind, okay, this is like the reason you're not rejecting somebody to hurt their feelings or to ruin their life or just to make them upset. That's not the reason why. If you do that, you're gonna end up in prison, or worse, murdered. Like, don't do those things. Those are gonna upset a lot of people, and you're gonna end up making nothing but enemies. Okay, even if the people that you did have as friends they're not gonna be your friends anymore after realizing what you were doing and how it's affecting them, right? Like, over time you'll lose your friends, your money, whatever. So don't do that. The only reason you're saying no is, like, if somebody applied for a job position such as, I need somebody to be the supervisor of my chain restaurant location, right? Like, supervisor means they're overseeing everything, including kitchen duties and like hosts and hostesses, waitressing, the accounting, like the budgeting, and overseeing like the clientele and maintaining the general area. So like they're kind of looking at everything, right? Whereas a manager is just responsible for the team that's working there, right? They're making sure that everyone's showing up on time and they're getting along with each other. And supervisor is making sure every entire aspect of that area is okay, in case any sort of inspectors comes along to say that they're doing their annual inspection for that location. They are supposed to do an annual inspection. Okay, so every year an inspector will come by a restaurant location to make sure that they're up to code. So all of their kitchen appliances are fixed and in use. If it's not in use, then it's either put away in storage or out in the garbage area for pickup, or they've already called the city waste removal sites to tell them that they need to remove the appliance. So it's disconnected and it's no longer functioning if it's broken. And anything that needs to be fixed, it's either somebody already called somebody for that, or it's already been fixed, and they need to show all the receipts and proofs for it. And if there was a report of a pest infestation, such as, it could be anything from wasps to ants to cockroaches to any of that, they already called a pest removal service, and they already did a go-ahead saying, we already removed all the pests in the area, here's your thingy. Like, here they use Orkin. I think there's Orkin all over North America, not just here. So that's what they were doing with that pest removal. So in case like any kind of pests show up and it might actually damage the food in the area, they just, yeah, they go to, and they're like, here's a certificate, inspector. And then they make sure that like the inspector also goes through like if the employees are being paid on time and all that kind of stuff, if they're healthy, if any of them are sick or have called in sick excessively to a point where maybe like local hospitals need to be concerned or something, that kind of stuff. Like, that's what their job is as an inspector. Just make sure, checking off the checklist saying everything is in working condition. And if I needed somebody to be in a supervisor role, I would need somebody with some sort of experience and qualifications, right? Like, I can't just hire anybody off the street to do that job, because it demands a lot out of that person, and they need to be aware and they need to be recognized as, I can do this, and they are certified to do so. Kind of like if I wanted somebody to work as a car mechanic, I can't just hire somebody with no experience or knowledge of cars and tell them to go off the manual. Like, that's not gonna be enough for them to kind of troubleshoot all the problems that can come with car ownership. That's, excuse me, sorry. That's what that is. Please don't get confused or upset when somebody doesn't really, it doesn't seem like they're taking you seriously or something. Especially if like this is where in professional fields it's a lot easier to accept the rejection than in a personal setting, right? Like in a professional field, like if you're looking for a job or something and you know you're qualified, but again the eligibility criteria is a little off or different from what your current qualifications are, you can still apply and see, have them overlook your resume and see and if they are willing to hire you for that position, because a lot of employers, they don't mind investing their money into training a new employee, so they like doing those things, which is why they have a career based on working with different types of people. So if you are looking to work in a position that you currently don't have experience, currently you don't have the qualifications or the exact experience that they're asking for, right? So like you want to be a manager at a retail location, but you only have 5 years experience in the tourism industry, right? You can transfer over and talk about your experience or job experience and job qualifications and whatever certificate came from that, and they might even consider you as a candidate and take you in for an interview to say, oh, we don't actually mind hiring you, we'll actually do the training, like pay for the training and all that kind of stuff as employers, because we think you'd be a very good fit for our team. So you can do that way, but again, it's kind of a long shot, so just don't expect them to call you back. Most of the time they'll just overlook your resume and they might think about it for a second, but they're most likely gonna go with the candidate who actually does fit to the T what their eligibility requirements are. Not always, but sometimes. So that's always something that you can like consider when you're applying for a job. But again, when you apply for a job and you don't get the job despite going to interviews or anything, like I don't really take it personally, because I kind of see what that place is like and why they didn't hire me, and I'm kind of glad for it, right? Like I'm actually like, because I personally don't know what that workplace is like, because I've never worked there, right? I don't know who works there, I don't know what kind of stuff that they go by there, and I actually don't know how the team is being managed. All that kind of stuff I actually personally don't know because I've never worked there. But if they're posting a job posting and there's a position open, then I'm gonna apply, because most likely only reason anybody really works is because they need to save up enough money for a certain reason, right? Not that you have to spend the money specific way, but that's the only reason anybody ever looks for a job or a position. I mean, some careers can be quite fulfilling, and even if somebody doesn't need the money, they love working there. People get, it's job satisfaction is one of the key factors, or like one of the very biggest reasons why people are happy. Fulfilling careers and close or fulfilling relationships. It's part of living a very modern and very respectable human life, I think. But keep in mind, not all job pays the same. And just because your job is valuable doesn't mean that you're gonna make billions and billions and billions of dollars from it. I mean, those are different. Those are usually merchants. Merchants typically make a lot of money. I know in the feudal system they're called merchants. Merchants are just businessmen or salesmen. So their jobs are in the trades. Like, they like to trade their items and their services, typically items, like products, for in exchange for money. So that's where they're getting most of their money from. Those people, they make a lot of money. But like, if you're an accountant, you're not gonna make billions of dollars being an accountant. I mean, not very likely that you will. Not that I'm not saying that it's impossible, but most likely you're gonna end up, if you're in a very good position as an accountant, working for a private firm or somebody else's personal accountant, or a company's or corporation's personal accountant, which is, again, you're gonna be on contract most of the time, but they'll hire you to work for that specific corporation. So you work as an accountant for such and such company, and you get paid a salary wage. So those types of people, they don't make, like, most of them actually do make six figures. They're not making like more than that most of the time. I mean, it's very rare that they do, unless the company's doing very, very well, and then everyone gets a bonus. Okay, in a personal setting, like, oh, I like to be friends with that person, but I'm not really sure how to approach it, or I know, like, I want to ask my mom if I can go to this place, and I'm not really sure if she would say yes, because it's gonna be out of the city and it might cost a lot more money for me to go there for that period of time, and I don't really know how to approach it. That kind of stuff, like, that's what I'm talking about with the personal things. Please keep in mind, if you want to be friends with somebody, or you want to approach somebody for like some sort of personal project, such as a political movement, or getting your neighbors involved in enacting some sort of bylaw to sign your petition, or saying like, I want to start a community garden, here's my petition. You want to file it with the city or something like that, that's a personal thing. It's not really a job thing. I mean, you're taking on the responsibility and the job of somebody who would get paid for those positions, but since it's for your own personal reasons, as in whatever, it's a personal thing that you're doing, so you're putting a lot of time and energy to get something done, but it's not really something that you're doing for your career. It could lead to a career. Like, if you start a community garden and there's local farmers in the area, or local people who see that and they start, there's a buzz about it, or they start like talking about it, or like, you know, all that kind of stuff, and at least to, like, maybe you make it on the local paper or something like that, and other people see it and they actually want to hire you for some of their stuff that company's trying to do, or some people want to promote their stuff, so they give you all these like free seeds and all these not grocery stuff, the dirt and then the green growth stuff, and they ask you if you can like put it online or tell other neighbors about it. So that's kind of where that's a good way to gain some traction into you know, getting your work put out there. Like, it could be a hobby that you're doing, like gardening's a hobby, but it can get into a career. Maybe a local florist that would even want to hire you like part-time, or ask you if you can do some extra work for them and they'll pay you. Right? I mean, it's hard to get a career or a job just to begin with. The fact that there's a position open, it means it's a good thing, but then most likely you're just gonna be working for money. Right? Like, you're only showing up to work to like work there and then you're leaving. Right? It's not really something that you're most often job postings that are open, if you see it online or on the newspaper or something, those aren't really permanent positions. Like, they're all temporary positions. So none of them are really looking for full-time workers, and the job itself is not a full-time work. A lot of jobs aren't full-time, I mean permanent work. It's not really something you're supposed to be doing for an extended period of time, even though you get paid for it. But again, that's your own personal thing. It should be a reason as to why you show up to work every day. And yeah, getting paid is a good reason. Not like the only reason you're showing up to work is because you are getting money for it. That's not a reason. Like, if you actually wanted to go, the reason why you're even looking for a job is because you kind of want to build your skill set and get out there in the community or the neighborhood, then that's also a reason. But most people, they look for jobs because they need the money. That's a big factor. And secondly, because they want to, like, there's a reason. My personal reason was like, oh, I love like shopping here. I mean, like, I don't know, might as well like start working for them now. Just why not? And then the second one is I've always wanted to do this. Like, I wanted to learn the skill, and I wasn't really sure how to go about like learning this skill. And oh my god, amazingly, there's hiring. Like, oh, I always wanted to learn how to make drinks and like do that kind of stuff. Or I always learn how to like manage your cash register, you know, like how to, you know, exchange and like do more than multitask kind of stuff. Like, I'm really bad at it. I never get the opportunity to multitask at home, and there's not a lot of things in my life that calls for multitasking, but at work I can learn how to multitask. I've always wanted to learn a new language, and there's a few job openings that have a lot of people who speak different languages, so maybe I can like just learn from them somehow or something like that. Like, just that kind of stuff. Like, that's kind of should be a reason why you're applying for that position. And most of the time you can even say that, oh hey, I can do that job, and I'm actually free, and I'm not really planning on like doing much anyway, and plus my parents have been kind of nagging me to like get a job or something because I stay home all day and I never leave the house. So I don't know, probably not a bad idea to apply for that. Why not? So I think those are reasons why people find, like, it's entry-level positions, and definitely you can build your resume from them, and you can build your resume from volunteering. Just I think it's better if you focus on what kind of stuff it is that you are trying to apply for, or focus on your experiences. Me personally, I worked a lot of low wage jobs. I needed the money, honestly. That's one of the biggest reasons. But yeah, I could do the job, and I'm dependable and reliable, which are personal traits and assets that people can see on the spot. Like, you don't have to be a PhD to know that, yeah, that guy's not gonna steal anything, or yeah, that person's fine, or like, oh yeah, you know what, if you really want to, then like, why not? Like, most people are like that. They're like, oh, I got no reason to say no to you. So yeah, but anyway, that's for work. I mean, you will hear a lot of no's when you go and apply for things. Just expect that. Like, for like every 100 resumes you put out there, you're probably gonna get called into like probably 8 interviews, and of the 8 interviews, you'll get 1 job. Right? That's basically the statistics on how to get a job just through applying online. And that job, again, isn't guaranteed. Honestly, you don't know how the team works. You don't know, you've never been there before, and you're a new member. they're supposed to treat you as if you're part of the team now because we just hired you, right? We already went through your interview process. We kind of see what you're like and what other people are saying about you or responding to you being there. And if everything's fine, we don't see a reason as to why we wouldn't keep you on the team. But keep in mind, sometimes some people who pick up skills quickly, I think that was the case with myself, or like have some sort of skills or provide a thing for the team or the company or whoever that you're working for. It's actually market value wise, if your services are worth more than what they're paying you and they can't legitimately afford having you on the team, they're gonna fire you or you're gonna end up quitting. Either one of the two is gonna start happening, right? Because your skills and skill set and your whatever, like your work that you're putting out is worth a lot more than what they're paying you, and they can't logistically run their business with somebody on their team who is, it's basically stealing. Other people can see that, so they're gonna, number one, mistrust that person, and secondly, they're gonna start getting like, it's gonna throw off a lot of their work stuff. So like honestly, people, like, they should be promoting you and they should be like paying you more, but if they can't afford it because it's not within their revenue and their budget, and they're actually only looking for somebody who's only worth this much, like not worth personally intrinsically, but skill set wise, right? Their skills and their experience is only worth, like their work is only worth a certain amount of money. That's who they're looking for. They're not looking for somebody who's really, really skilled and talented and can do so many things, because that person, you have to pay a lot more, and they don't need that person. They need somebody who can do the little things. So that could be the case with you too, especially if you're the type of person who likes to build skills and you've been doing it on your own time. So it's really kind of, especially if you're a smart person or you're intelligent and you're really adept at like picking up and adjusting to your environment very quickly. So if you're that type of person, then yeah, unfortunately your work output requires them to compensate you accordingly, and they may not actually have the budget or the money to pay you that. That's kind of the problem with a lot. Like, if you're the type, like you are the business owner type, or like you have as much skills as your manager, and now it's like, okay, you have to pay that person as much as you're paying your manager, even though that person works as a position of a waitress or a host. But we actually only wanted somebody to be a waitress or a host. That's who we were looking for. That person who won't be able to work any other job except for waitress and host, not just at this location, but that's the skill set we were looking for. We weren't actually looking for somebody who has the qualification of a manager. Now we have to pay you more even though you're working a lower ender job, but that's typically how it works with a lot of business companies and stuff. They're like, yeah, that's kind of that kind of thing. Yeah, so don't beat yourself up. Again, before I digress even further, I think if you ever needed to like say no to a guy who's asking out on a date and he's not taking the rejection very well, just make sure when you're actually rejecting that guy, there's a legitimate reason. Like me personally, I don't like going on dates with ugly guys. I'm sorry, that's a very personal thing. You're asking me to go out with you on a very personal basis. I don't want to be involved with people in a way like that if I don't find them personally attractive. Not that that's their only value, and not that like I only want to be friends with attractive people, but being romantically involved or having sex with somebody requires that I need that person to be more physically attractive than if they just wanted to be friends with me, right? And it has to do with the fact that what if I end up having kids with that guy, or like what if I end up getting pregnant? I don't want my kids to look like that kind of stuff. So if you're not really sure, if there's a really pretty girl and you really like her, and if you actually like her, like not just I like the way you look and I want to have sex with you, not that, but you legitimately like her, like you're like, oh, she seems like a good person and I'm really interested in getting to know her, and I really want to be friends with her, and I want her as a part of my social life or my social circle, right? Then you should be actually trying to get to know her as a friend. If you approach her as a romantic partner or romantic interest and she's most likely going to say no to you, then now you lost her potential of her being friends with you, right? So it's like, the difference is like a romantic relationship can end up in marriage, whereas friendship, it also can, but that's not the intention, right? Their intention isn't to have sex with you. Their intention is to just kind of get to know you and see what you're like. If you go on one date with a guy, that's kind of what that's like, but then the idea is that both of you are willing to have sex with each other if everything goes well. That's kind of, yeah, but like if you actually like her, so this is like the tricky part. If you actually like her, then you wouldn't be asking out her on dates and getting mad that she said no to you. Like, that means you're being superficial and you only cared about the way she looked and how physically attractive she was for you. And now you feel personally offended because she said no to you. But the reason she said no to you was because you're being an asshole. Right? Like, she said no to you because you only care about how cute or how pretty or how hot she is, and you didn't get a chance to even get to know her or why she would even want to go out with you. You didn't care about that. You only care about the fact that you found her attractive and she used to say yes to you all the time. Like, that's not realistic. So if you wanted to be friends with somebody or somebody's approaching you to be friends with someone, the only reason I even reject somebody right off the bat is if I know they're gonna try to steal from me. That's it. Like, it's really obvious when someone's approaching you to get to know you so they can steal something from you. And it could be your virginity, it could be your actual valuables, it could be something else, like your identity or something. So that kind of stuff is really obvious. I mean, that's the only reason I say no right off the bat. Another reason why I say no to somebody who wants to be friends with me is if I can see problematic behavior right there when I see them. So their approach to me was very racially prejudiced, and they're expecting me to baby them and teach them about everything, about my culture, and the only reason they want to be friends with me is because they want multicultural friends. Or the only reason they want to be friends with me is so that if they go to a different country, I can introduce them to the area or the city that they want to visit. Like, oh, she's Korean, I want to visit Korea, I should be friends with her. That's really, really narcissistic. It's parasitic. And that's why she's gonna say no. Well, that's why I say no. I'm like, I don't want to be friends with somebody who doesn't even care about me. Right? Like, you don't care about me as a person. So that's not okay. You're not supposed to just approach somebody based on some demographic qualities. Your employers are looking at that because it does affect their earnings and the kind of customers that go there. But they're not assessing you as a person based on that, just on your position and your skill set. That's it. That's completely unrelated to who you are as a person. That kind of superficial stuff changes all the time for everyone, which a lot of people have a hard time understanding. But yeah, please don't ever feel upset or offended when somebody says no to you. If they're saying no to you, then just take that no, even if you feel upset, even if you feel like it's unfair, and just leave it. Okay? Stop trying to convince the other person why they shouldn't be saying no to you, because that's just gonna piss them off and they're gonna call the police, or they're gonna get other people involved to get you away from them, because they already told you no. Right? Even if it's for no reason, like this person's a crazy person and they just tell everyone no for no reason. That's what they are trying to tell you, saying, I can't be near you right now for my own sake, okay? If you cared about me as a person, and if you're not really taking no for an answer, it means you don't give a shit about that person. Which means definitely you're not going to be friends with them. If you don't care about that person, how are you going to be friends? Right? You don't care about how their life is going. You don't care about how anything about them is going. You don't care about any of that. You're not providing any sort of benefit, right? Like, being friends with you means that they get to hang out with you. That doesn't Like, why? Like, I can hang out with people around me all the time, but why is that a benefit? Other than, hey, this person's my friend and we help each other out all the time. Right? Like, that kind of stuff is a friend stuff, right? Or you can be neighborly and do that. If there's somebody in your neighborhood, you can see that's kind of struggling, so you can be like, hey, I live in the area, blah, blah. Get to know your neighbors that way. That's also called getting to know somebody. But with friends, it's like, it doesn't really matter on the location. You guys all support each other, and you want to make sure that their social life and their career is going well, so you kind of help them out that way. That's a friend. So, and also you like the same things. That's important. If you and your friend don't like the same things, then I think that's more of an acquaintance, not really a friend. But it's always nice to have acquaintances. You know, like, it's kind of like having neighbors. Acquaintances are neighbors in your personal or social circle. We're neighbors. Hey, neighbor. Yeah, that's what that means. Why are people upset at me for saying no to them when they are like that? Look, if you can't recognize that you are doing that because of your own selfish reasons, that's why. If you're trying to... Oh, also, if you're the type of person to say no to people all the time, just stop saying that and start actually finding reasons to say yes. Okay? As in, like, I don't really actually have a legitimate reason as this person not gonna hurt me or steal from me. And I don't really know this person very well, but I don't really like that person just based on, like, what I'm assessing personally. But I don't know, I could give it a shot. That kind of stuff, like, oh, I already know what that type of person is like, and I've had experience with that type of person in the past. You know the MBTI personality types. You know how there's like different types of people. Yeah, I know what that type of person is gonna be like, and I know how the relationship's gonna go based on my experience, right? So I'm like, I'm just gonna say no because I already know, I already had that experience, or like I already know what they're gonna be like. I'm sorry, this isn't gonna. I can't. Sorry, I don't want to tell you that I think you're a piece of shit, but if you keep harassing me and refuse to take no for an answer from me, then yeah, I'm gonna tell you you're a piece of shit, right? It's like, okay, only a shitty person would not give a shit about the other person and only ask them to do things that they want and they like and not care about what that other person likes or what they want or need or like. Yeah, that's called being selfish. Nobody really wants to be friends with selfish people. Or that person literally saw you in a bar and they saw you like sexually harass a woman to a point where she's just like, fuck off, and she left the bar, and you just punched another guy in the face for no reason. And then you approach another person saying, hey, wanna be friends? They're gonna say no. They're like, we just saw what you did over there. Why the fuck wanna be friends with a crazy person? Right? They're gonna tell you no right off the bat. Like, I'd be like, no, obviously, no, absolutely not. But that's only if you did that kind of stuff, you know, or they know that you did. I'm sorry, people don't have to see you do those things to know that. Like, they can tell. Just, they're not, people aren't that stupid. I'm sorry, they're not. Even if you think there are, like, it doesn't really make it real just because you think that way. And no, just because you get other people to agree with you on that kind of stuff, which is a political movement, doesn't mean that it makes it true. And oh, that could be a very reason as to why they're saying no, because you hate the stuff that they love, even though it's not a big deal. I mean, those are, if you're still friends, despite that, those are reserved for like very close, very long time friends. Okay? Like, they have been through stuff together that you can't even imagine. And now it's like a bond that you can't even break, even if you wanted to. You can't get out of the relationship. You can't escape. That's what that means. Is like, that's the only reason that they're still friends, is because of all that kind of stuff. But if you met somebody new and you found out, oh fuck, I love absolutely love sandwiches, and they're like, I fucking can't stand the sight of sandwiches. It makes me want to puke. I want to kill myself. Don't like sandwiches. Okay, that's not gonna be a good person to be friends with, because you need to find people who love the same things you love. Those are friends. Like, oh, we all love going outside and looking at the sky for 10 hours straight. Yeah, it's called stargazing. Yeah, we all love stargazing. We talk about that all the time. We have like a hobbyist circle that we each are involved in, that we also talk about in other time. And also, other than that, like, we also really love eating mac and cheese. Like, that's our favorite food. We love to stargaze, so we're involved in that. And then we like try to make new recipes, and like we like to go out with each other because we know that no one's like, we never actually have to worry about financial problems or any social issues or like emotional upsetting stuff if we're together. Excuse me, those are friends. Excuse me. Neighbors, you don't really know them that well. You don't really involve that heavily. I mean, you see them, like, if they need something here and there, you're like, hey, I can help you out or something. That's a neighbor, but like, a friend isn't like that. Yeah, that's not a friend if that person does not like anything you like. If friends are supportive, well, typically all social circles are supposed to be supportive. Not all of them, honestly. Sometimes they will actively try to weed you out of it because they think that you're problematic, or your skill set isn't actually, like, you're not progressing at the same rate that they are, or you're not really supporting their movement or whatever it is that they're doing. So they'll try to get you out of it if that's how they feel. So that's that. So like I said, be careful of rejecting somebody. It's like stabbing someone. Okay, it hurts, man. Rejection hurts everyone, but again, you as a person, don't approach somebody, number one, for the wrong reasons. Like, don't go out and think everyone needs to love you immediately. I mean, you know what, they're not even going to appreciate the fact that you even took initiative to come see them. Like, they're gonna get very offended, and they're like, why would you even bother doing that? Like, it just seems like you're wasting everyone's time, including mine. And now they're gonna interpret that as, oh, you don't even know how to manage your own time, and you don't even know what the fuck you're doing, and you're expecting me to be friends with you. Also, keep in mind, the reason that you want to be friends with somebody, or the reason that you want to get to know somebody, isn't for your own personal benefit. It's because you like the same things, and that kind of stuff comes up later. And you're not really like, it's not gonna be like a deal breaker, right? They're like, oh, I don't, like, you know what, I don't care if you like are like that, like, I can put up with it. I like hanging out with you, I enjoy your company, that kind of stuff. That's a friend. Like I said, it's hard putting yourself out there, and yeah, you're gonna face a lot of rejection professionally all the time. Especially if you're a newcomer or you're just starting out, you're gonna hear a lot of no's. No, they're gonna even look at you and be like, oh no, you know what, I already have enough of a headache here, I can't take a new person on right now. Like, no, not to everything. No, to your entire family. So please don't try to like force people to say yes to you, because that's illegal. Like, that's called coercion. Okay, that's a crime. Yeah, I know you really want it, and you think that it's gonna be beneficial for both people, but if the other person's not willingly doing it with you, then yeah, it's called coercion. That's a crime. Okay. What else? How to reject somebody nicely or in a way that they're not upset. You have to be able to make it very clear and very obvious why you're saying no. You can't just try to hide it and say, no, you're perfectly fine, I just don't like you. Okay, that's gonna sting a lot more than if you were to say that it's because of the thing that you just said. It's kind of upsetting me, and I don't really want to be near people who think that kind of stuff is okay. Even if they're like, okay, I won't say it anymore, they're like, I know that, but I don't want to force you to change yourself or to change the way you are or what you think is okay, because there are people who think that kind of stuff is okay. I'm not one of those people. That's why. right? If some guy's being a jackass and they're approaching you, or if some girl's being a bitch and they're approaching you, just be like, you're being a bitch or you're being a jackass. That's all you gotta say. Like, that's not okay. You're being rude and you're being offensive, and that's why I don't want to be friends with you. I'm sorry. That's literally the only reason. Okay? And yeah, I get that there are people who are like that and they have friends like that too, but I don't want to be involved. Or like, oh, you can be like, oh, the reason why I don't want to be friends with you is because currently I have enough friends. You can say that too. I have like, I don't know, I got 100,000 friends, and I honestly don't have time to maintain another relationship. Because those things take time and effort. I mean, people don't realize this, but like, I don't really take into account how much money that I'm actively spending on a relationship. And a lot of people don't. Like, that's not really something what people are focused on. Like, this, everything, like, they're putting forth to maintain that relationship, going to see your friend, like, going out together, eating together, doing activities together, that kind of stuff, or, like, you just spent, like, the last 5 hours talking to your friend or whatever, that kind of stuff, that people aren't really into taking into account, like, oh my god, blah 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 blah, it's gonna cost you that. But it does cost you some stuff, like energy, time, attention, money, your resources. Like, a lot of your resources are going to maintain a relationship that you don't actually get back out of, other than other people's resources, right? That's really all you're getting from that relationship. So you are, like, putting forth this many things. Like, I care about you, but that person cares about me back. Look, I care about you and you care about me back. That kind of stuff. So that's kind of like the trade-off. But you're not actually, like, yeah. It's not like a job where you can actually intrinsically evaluate that kind of stuff. Right? You can't, like, actually, like, sit down and, like, assess all of it. You can't. That's not really what people are doing with friendship. I mean, if you're doing that, you're being an abusive friend. Yeah, you're abusing your friend, man. You're abusing the relationship, and you're not gonna have a friend anymore. Sorry, maybe you shouldn't have thought of that person as, like, a commodity. This isn't like, oh, this is not collectibles. Like, they're not toys, they're people. Okay? You need to be able to have some sort of relationship with them, or, like, have some sort of interaction going. Okay, I'm gonna fall asleep. Ugh, this is really boring. I think it's boring to talk about this kind of stuff. I'm like, ugh, you don't know how to do that? Did you not go to school? Were you raised in your mom's or dad's basement your entire life? Like, I don't understand why. Why is it so hard for you to understand this? There's a bee floating around here somewhere. I am a little nervous, but I've been, like, just sleeping and, like, trying to conserve energy. Is it working? I don't fucking know. Okay, another thing that I'd like to mention. Don't start attacking that person for trying to approach you. Even though clearly you're out of their league, or they're out of your league, whatever, however you like to say it. And obviously, it's completely delusional for them to even think that you guys can even be near each other. Please don't do that. Okay, yeah, I get you have a right to, and yeah, that person shouldn't have done that, but the fact that they're doing that means that they're not very good at social skills, and they might actually just, I mean, you're unnecessary, like, it's not really excessive, honestly. I'd say, you can use it as a way to tell that person, other people like that, hey, I don't really like that kind of stuff. And if you wanted to be my friend, or if you cared about me, you would focus on the stuff that I'd like, not the stuff that I don't like. I mean, all that kind of stuff is different as professional setting. I'm talking about a personal setting. Personally, you can say no to whoever the fuck you want. Okay, that's your own personal life, and it can affect your professional life if you're stupid about it. But I think the important thing is just say no to people that you know personally aren't going to be beneficial for you. And no, it's not abusive for you to think that way. Like, it has to be a give and take, a symbiotic relationship, not a, what's it called, like a parasitic relationship. Symbiosis, it means we both benefit from being friends with each other. Maybe not even to an equal extent, but in some ways, more so than others. But there's not only is that like a reason we both like each other, but the way to maintain the relationship is through symbiosis. You just can't just sit on your ass and like leech off your friend all day and then hopefully one day you have so many friends. Yeah, no. And if you don't know if you're leeching off somebody or not, a good way to tell is I think a good way to tell is, how do I tell if somebody's leeching off me or not? That person's unreliable every single time you ask them to do something, or on a very majority of the basis. So they're supposed to do this for you, but like they only do that things that they're supposed to do for you like 20% of the time, less than 50% of the time. Then you're like, okay, this is kind of getting to be a toxic relationship or a parasitic relationship. I can't live like this. I can't live with you being my friend if that's what you're gonna do. As in, you can't be friends with me anymore. We're not actually friends, and not only that, I can't even start thinking of you in a very positive way anymore. That's how things are. I mean, if you ever seen or meet people who've gone rejected or lost friends, they'll always bring up stuff like, you know what I used to do for her? La la la. Actual friends don't actually say that about each other. Excuse me. If they got rejected, then yeah, they'll say that. That's how you tell. I used to do this and this for her. You have no idea how many things I did for these people. I mean, people who did the rejection can also say those things, but they never really ever bring it up. Unless they're kind of forced to, and they're like, why did that happen? And they're like, because of these reasons. But they won't ever be like, you know, this time, like one time, and then you ask them, how long have you been friends? And they're like, I've been friends with her for like 10 years before she completely cut me out because she's a narcissistic bitch who won't even return all my calls or texts, and she owes me so much money. And they're like, oh, what'd you do for her? And then they're like, I helped her drive to school once. Yeah, I did that. I didn't have to, but I did that. Yeah, I paid for her meal, like, I don't know, we went out to eat, and I actually paid for her, like, 3 times. And then they're like, in 10 years, the most you've done for your friend is drive her to school and pay for her meal 3 times. They're like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, that's why she's not friends with you anymore. Like, I can't have neighbors who do that for me. Like, it's not really a big deal. Like, that's not... Like, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck is that? You know? It's like, oh, you know what? I helped my friend move. And, like, I didn't even ask him to pay me for moving his stuff. And I'm like, why would you want your friend to pay you for that? If you're friends with them, like, are you just like, what is that? Did they hire you off an online ad to do a job for you, or is that your friend? Right? It's like kind of weird. To me, I'm just like, yeah, that's not a friend. That's why you don't have any friends. Which is why you try to look for reasons to say that person, to try to badmouth the other person, which is what a lot of people assume you were doing while you guys were trying to be friends with each other. Once they see you do that, they're gonna be like, oh, you were talking shit about her, huh? And they're like, it doesn't even matter if you helped her move every single time. Like, that kind of stuff's not okay. You don't say that about your friend. You say that about people that you hate and that, like, you're forced to do for, like, your family or your neighbors. Yeah. That's not your family, so that's because you guys aren't related to each other, so... that means you are the shit friend that everyone wants to get rid of. That's what that means. Yeah, they all regret it now, by the way. I'm like, yeah, because friends are hard to come by. That's why a lot of people don't want to end their relationships. They're like, they try to make the relationship work before they say, like, they call it quits, honestly. That's with everything. Like, every single person tries to make it work before they're like, it's not working anymore, man. Or woman. I don't know. But I don't really know what else to say. They're really, really stupid. These people that I am talking about. Hopefully it's okay for me to brush my teeth now. I've been living off of spoon. Okay, that's actually enough calories for like a little bit. But the drink just should be fine. But yeah, don't, you know, in life, there's more to life than, like, just having friends. Like, you can have a lot of acquaintances and still get by. You can have a very fulfilling career and still get by. Feels like there's something missing, obviously. It feels like it's not like, I mean, that's a huge aspect into socializing in a human world, but I mean, the important thing is that people, you know, they can still get by without any friends. Like, keep yourself busy, start a new hobby. If it's starting to affect your mood, see a doctor. Try to put yourself out there constantly until you find a friend. Or many friends, who knows. But that's it. Like, just don't go around thinking that, like, the entire world is, like, against you or whatever. Yeah. Also, just don't ever reject somebody and make it a personal rejection, because that might backfire on you. Yeah. And don't reject people that aren't in the setting for rejection, as in new people that's approaching you for stuff, and people who are applying for a position that's open. Oh my god. If those are the things, look, trust me, a lot of people aren't looking for new friends. Like, out of the pool of people who are looking for friends, you're gonna have a hard time finding decent people. Especially at given a certain age. And no, it has nothing to do with whatever. What does it have to do with? It has something to do with the fact that okay, so what actually happens is that typically people who are looking for friends have been in very shitty situations or are the shitty person. Except the bonus with the most people who are shitty is that they have a lot of money, right? Or they have a very good career, so they have a very fulfilling job. Or they're being supported by family members, so they have really good relationships with their family members. Right? Or they have a lot of hobbies and skills that they're involved in. Right? They're really crappy people, but, like, you know, like, they have no morals, or they have no personal values, or they have no well, most of them will have some sort of standards. Sometimes they don't. Like, the less skilled a person is, less standards they have. But they, like, how do I say this? Oh god, there was a bug there. those are typically people who are looking for new friends. Not a lot of people want to get personal with them because they're so annoying and abusive to be around. Other people looking for friends. People in my situation where they went through a lot of horrible stuff that now if you ever ask them, you're gonna be like, what? What? And you might even be shocked or traumatized from just by hearing that kind of stuff happening and seeing those people that they were involved in. Right? Like, that might be kind of like hard for a lot of people to get over. So it's like, oh my god, like, what are we supposed to talk about? Like, we can talk about that, but then they're like, oh, how come you, that's okay. And they're like, kind of, sorry to burst your bubble, but the world isn't peaches and rainbows and butterflies and cakes, okay? So that's what that's like. If you don't really like that kind of stuff and you don't really know if you can handle it, again, you're gonna have to put yourself through some of it. Like, oh, I don't want to face rejection, and I don't know anybody within my area, or like I don't know how to get to talk to people, like, because maybe I don't speak their language or something. Great time to start learning a new language. Oops. No, don't believe this shit about how, oh, at a certain age it gets harder for you to learn. It doesn't. You just have more stuff to do at a later age than when you were a kid. Right? With also less supervision, and also now you have to pay out of pocket to learn that kind of stuff. Oh, that hurts to read. But, like, honestly, joining a class, joining a club, learning something new, putting yourself through school, just even if you just need to learn how to learn a skilled trade or something, great way into segueing into a friendship. Right? I mean, you never know, maybe your classmates like the same things you like, or they don't mind doing that kind of stuff, but, again, a lot of people have different needs. So like if you're trying to be friends with somebody and they need to like hang out with you at least once a week to consider you to be part of their social circle, and you don't have time for that, like I don't actually have time to show up and see you every week, I'm sorry, excuse me, you're not gonna be keeping that relationship for a long time anymore, because that's kind of the requirement, right? Things you were required to be my friend, you have to show up to all my fancy occasions, and you have to hang out with me at least once a week. Right? That's all they need for them to be like, oh, that's my friend. Right? For them to have a reason to stay in contact and all that kind of stuff. If you can't do that, because you personally don't, like, maybe you don't work that way, or your current situation calls for, like, I can hang out with you once a month, but definitely I can see you on special occasions. Right? If that's a requirement from you and they said I actually can't accommodate that, then you guys can't be friends. That's really all that is. Like, oh, I can make time to see you at this and this time, but I actually have other stuff to do, or maybe like they are starting to prioritize a career and they stop hanging out with you and they lost their friends through that. That happens to a lot of people. I call them shitty people, okay? A lot of people do. But they may be the shitty person. Maybe their friends are really shitty and they weren't supporting that because they're like, oh, you can't be my friend anymore because you're busy about other stuff. I thought it was more important to you than your career. That's a shitty friend. Yeah, that kind of stuff, that person is gonna lose friends very quickly. I gotta pee. I don't pee really badly, but yeah, it's like, oh hey, if you wanna go be friends with me, we go clubbing every weekend, so like you kind of have to come with us for clubbing every freaking weekend. Make sure you got enough money to go clubbing with us. We can spot you here and there, but we can't actually keep paying for your clubbing. I mean, you know what the trick is? If you're a really hot girl, or if you're a girl who maintains her appearance very well, and you can behave very well, and you have like really good social skills, and you can like make new friends there for them and stuff, or try to find new people to hang out with for them, then yeah, they'll be willing to foot your bill, right? They're like, you are a valuable member of my friend circle, I need you around, because without you I won't be able to do that kind of stuff. Like, you actually, like, it makes it part of a team. I got a team of friends going. So that's like, this only works for women, honestly. Like, if you're a man and you're really good looking and you can make new friends, you're still gonna have to foot the bill for yourself. And props any other girls. Like, girls don't work that way. If you know anything about women, then you know, like, oh, like, she's not even gonna hang out with you unless you kind of do that kind of stuff. I mean, it seems like it's exclusive, but it's like, you kind of need to give her an incentive to want to hang out with you, right? Like, it's like, I don't know, like, it's like, oh, I kind of want to hang out with you, but like, I'm like, I don't really know you that well, and like, honestly, if you kind of force somebody to go out with you, like, I know guys support each other all the time and that kind of stuff, but women, they don't, like, I don't know, like, it's a lot of work, honestly, and I guess they're a lot more picky than men, so that's the thing. Anyway, if you want to reject people, please be honest. Honesty is key. Honesty is key to rejection. Oh, I'm sorry I can't be friends with you because honesty. Honest, I'm being honest. Yeah. But yeah, you know, that's the trade-off to working in a male-dominated field. Maintain your appearance, make things look good, make things comfortable for people, make sure that you know them very well and you know what they like. And then you can be like, ha ha ha, that's kind of why they hang out with me. But if you don't want to hang out with them anymore because they're not doing their part, which is like making sure that you're still okay after, that's not a friend. That's not even a business partner, that's just an idiot. Don't hang out with idiots, they're just gonna give you a headache.